That's why that helicopter's standing still. It found one. It's right behind the helicopter. Oh, man.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am your host, Chris Evans, and today we're going to talk about an orb that froze a helicopter in place. So let me provide you guys with a little backstory to the video you're about to see. So I work at a school, and as I walked out the front of the school, because I'm the one who unlocks all the gates for parent pickup, I noticed a helicopter right across the street hovering right above the houses. What drew my attention to it was, why was it hovering so low above these houses? Not only that, why was it hovering in place and not moving anywhere? Normally the air traffic around that place, they have their routes. I see them every day. They do this circle. Planes, jets, helicopters, they all have this same route they go to, but not this one. This looked like it was a glitch in the matrix. The helicopter did not move at all. It was like stuck in place. The rotors were still spinning, but this thing wasn't even moving. Now, I used to be in a helicopter company in the Marines, and I used to fast rope out of the bottom of them. Now, I know helicopters, they don't hover perfectly still. There's a little bit of a sway. They kind of, you know, they don't really stand still. This one was. It looked fake. It was so still. So I walked over to the crossing guard. I asked the crossing guard, yo, what's the deal with that helicopter over there? I swear to God, this guy, if we live in a simulation, this guy's an NPC. He came to us late in the year. I don't know where he's from or what he does, but he literally says almost the same thing every day to me when I open up the gates for him. But when I asked him what was the deal with the helicopter, he just looked up and was like, oh, I didn't even notice. I was like, you didn't notice there's a helicopter right there, right across the street. Like, we could literally feel the wind from the rotors. That's how close this helicopter was. As I was looking at it, I was like, oh my God, there it is. I see it. I see why. Behind it was an orb. Now, I was shocked at first, so I was watching it for a while. And then finally, this orb must have like let it go after I was watching it for a while. Let the helicopter go. So the helicopter kept trying to turn, and you could tell this helicopter was looking for it, because every time it tried to turn, the orb would go under the helicopter, and then the helicopter would start turning and it would come up over here, and as it was about to face it, it would then go on top of the helicopter, and then it was just, the helicopter was just literally like looking around for it, and it was just hovering right behind it or right above it, and the helicopter could not find it, and every time it was about to face it, it would just go under it or above it, and it just kept following this helicopter. So when the school nurse came out and she was getting ready to leave, she was asking me what I was staring at. And I pointed up there. I was like, there was an orb. There's an orb right there. And she couldn't see it. But I'm like, it's right there. You can't see it at all. The crossing guard saw it, but as I was trying to point it out to her, it started leaving the helicopter. So it must have got bored or something. But after a while, this orb, it just went from on top of the helicopter. It just went up and up and up until it couldn't see it anymore. It went so high, it was just out of view. But the nurse did have a flight tracker app, and she did give me the coordinates for that helicopter, and it looked very odd for a helicopter route, I'll tell you that. So let's take a look at the footage. All right, so first I'm just gonna let the footage play through, and then we'll examine it.
That's why that helicopter's standing still. It found one. It's right behind the helicopter. Oh man. Oh, there it is. It is following that helicopter. Where'd it go? Can't get it on.
So the reason why I kept zooming in and out is because it was like 100 degrees outside. I was filming it with my phone. Now it's so bright outside and hot that I can't see the screen on my phone. You know how it's too bright outside, you can't see it? So I can't even see if I'm even filming it. I'm just pointing my phone at it and hoping that I get it. And I kept zooming out because I was using, you know, it's the sky, so there's really not a reference point. So I was using the trees and the helicopter as a reference point to where this orb was, because I could see it clearly with my eyes, but on a phone, again, it looks just like a white dot. But in person, it was bright and metallic. Yeah. So that's why I was zooming out. I was just trying to get my bearings on where this orb was on my phone. So this next clip we're going to watch is a slowed down version of this orb disappearing and reappearing again. Now in person, to my eyes, this orb, it looked like it had an electrical pulse to it. So when it pulsed, it disappeared, and then it would pulse again and I would see it again. So that's kind of like what it looked like. Of course, on camera, it doesn't look like that at all. So let's take a look. There it is, appearing and disappearing. Okay, and here's another clip of it slowed down, reappearing and appearing again, zoomed in. That's kind of like what it looks like in slow motion. Again, this is zoomed in as far as I can get it. And this clip is another slowed down version, but this time with like the color change and contrast change to see if we can make out kind of like what it looks like through the brightness of the orb. See if it is solid or just pure energy. That's kind of what it looks like right there. I don't know, to me, maybe it's not a solid. Maybe it is pure energy. I don't know. But I could have sworn that I saw like a metallic to it, like a metal, like a shiny metal on it. So let's look one more time. This is a more zoomed in clip of the original video that I took.
That's why that helicopter's standing still. It found one. It's right behind the helicopter. Oh man.
There it is. See, and you can still see, even though it's not bright, you can kind of see like a dark spot where it's at. That's why I think maybe it's like a solid metallic. Dang, I'm trying to pause it right there. So right there, you see that? You can still see it's there. It's just not glowing anymore. It's not visible to the eye anymore. But on camera, you could see this little dark spot. So it must be there, but cloaking itself. You see that? Look at that. You can kind of see it right here. I'm outlining it right there. So it's still there, but not visible to the eye. And the camera can barely pick it up. But it's there, see?
It is following that helicopter. Where'd it go? Can't get it on.
Okay, so now here is a picture of the orb that I took right there. That's zoomed in as far as I can. That's what it looks like in regular color. I don't know, man. This looks like pure energy. And then here you go. Here is another picture right here of it that I took, because I was also taking kind of like pictures and snapshots while I was trying to video it, hoping that I would at least either get video or pictures, but I happened to get a little bit of both. Here is with the color correction And we'll zoom in more on that. And again, that's what it looks like, messing with the contrast and colors. That's all I can make out. And that's zoomed in as far as I can. Here's another snapshot from the video. And there you go. That's zoomed in as far as I can. So remember how I told you when the orb got like tired of messing with this helicopter for a while, it was hovering above it, and then it just decided to leave and go up and up and up until you couldn't see it anymore. I actually have pictures of it leaving the helicopter. All right, so here's the first one. As you can see, here's the helicopter and here's the orb. So it started here and it just started, it was above the helicopter right here, and it just started going straight up as the helicopter was still circling, trying to find it. But yeah, there it went. That's as far as I can zoom in. Okay, and here's another shot. So there's the helicopter, and now you can see the orb is even farther away. It's even higher, and that's about as close as I can get to it. It's that little dot right here. And then this was the last picture I took of it because it was extremely high. As you can see, there's the helicopter and the orb is way up here. So it went all the way up and up and up. And like I said, it just kept going up and up until I couldn't see it anymore. But there it is. That's zoomed in as far as I can. It's right here. I don't know what to make of it, guys. You let me know down in the comments if you guys have an idea on what this thing is. But to me, it's a plasma orb. I don't know if it's a solid or not. Maybe it is. Maybe it is, because when it wasn't shining bright like that, you could still see something like a dark spot, like solid, like it's still there, but it wasn't glowing. So yeah, remember how I told you the nurse actually had a flight tracker app? She actually screenshotted it and texted it to me. And here is the screenshot she took of the flight tracker of the helicopter. Look at that. Just going in circles, 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 circles. Just, I'm telling you, this thing was looking for that orb. That orb was messing with it, and it just kept trying to turn and circle and try and find it. And it was going everywhere, going crazy, man. This thing knew the orb was there. I mean, it froze it in place. I can only imagine what the people inside were thinking. Now, what got me thinking was, whose helicopter was this? So I decided to look up the reg number, this N783AZ. All right, so here we are in the FAA registry. Let's look up the number. Okay, N783AZ, submit. All right, so this is what comes up. Got the manufacturer, type of aircraft, type of engine, registered owner, State of Arizona Department of Public Safety. Okay, let's see what happens if we Google this. All right, so here we got something. Helicopter N783AZ is a Bell 429 Global Ranger owned by the Arizona Department of Public Safety. It's used for various missions, including search and rescue operations. One notable instance involves assisting in extracting 2 individuals from a crevice in Pima County, or in Pima Canyon. The helicopter is also used for training sorties. Okay, so this seems to be what the helicopter looks like. Here's some of its information down here below. Well, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think the orb was pure plasma, or is it a metallic spherical orb that lights up with energy? If you have any more information on the helicopter and its flight tracking, please let me know down in the comments, or hit me up on social media on Chris Evans 66. That's on Facebook, Instagram. Shoot me a DM. What did you guys find out? Let's figure this out together, because that's what we're trying to do. We're investigating what I see. We're looking into it, and there's a lot more questions than answers. On the next episode, I go out with a good friend of mine, Jeff Woolwine, who has been following these orbs for over 20 years. He's linked them to ancient Native American petroglyphs found in the mountains here, and he knows what time, when, where they show up, and I filmed dozens of these things flying around at night. That's on the next episode of the Xeno Files.